Hi, boys and girls. Today's lesson is how to solve fraction problems. They're fraction word problems, but you're pretty much just comparing fractions. So I want to talk a little bit about comparing fractions. There's going to be two types of problems. One problem is going to be comparing fractions that have the same denominator. Like 4/6 and 2/6. When it has the same denominator, it's pretty easy. All of the pieces are the same size. So 4 pieces is definitely going to be more than 2 pieces. That would be 2/6. That would be 4/6. 4 pieces is more pieces, so that one's bigger. What gets complicated is when the denominators are different sizes. For example, if I'm comparing 2/8 and 2/3. Well, if you look at your fraction, these are called fraction bars. You could Google fraction bars and look at it on your screen. You could also print out a page just like this. A page like this would be helpful because it helps you see the size of the pieces. So if I look at eighths are pretty small. And when I look at thirds are clearly bigger than eighths. So 2/8 compared to 2/3, 2/3 is definitely going to be bigger, which is why looking at fraction bars can be helpful. When you look here, it gets a little confusing because a lot of kids think, oh, well, 8's bigger than 3. No, not when it's a fraction. 8 pieces means the pieces are smaller. Think about sharing a pizza with 8 friends instead of sharing a pizza with 3 friends. If you get 1/3 of the pizza, you get a lot more pizza than if you get 1/8 of the pizza. It's a little confusing because as the denominator gets bigger, the piece gets smaller. There's also some wacky numbers in some of these word problems because some of them go over 1. And what I mean by that is that it'll have something like that and compare it to something like that. 2/2 is 1. Does that make sense? 2/2 is the same as 1 whole. So 10/2, that's way over 1. But still, it doesn't matter if it's over 1. And when I say over 1, I mean that the numerator is bigger than the denominator. You're still looking at what's the size of the piece. What's bigger? Are halves bigger or are fifths bigger? Well, I can go back to my fraction bars. That's why I'm saying to have something like this next to you while you do this, so that you can see the size of the pieces. Look at 1/2, that's pretty big. Look at 1/5, that's clearly smaller. So 10/2 is definitely going to be more than 10/5. Let's look at a couple problems. This says the shelves in Roger's bookcase are 7/8 of a yard long. Latanya's bookcase has shelves that are 5/8 of a yard long. Whose bookcase has longer shelves? Well, look, the denominators are the same. We got lucky. When the denominators are the same, it's really easy. 7/8 compared to 5/8. Let's see. 7/8 is here. 5/8 is here. 7 is more than 5. So who has the longer one? Who had 7? Roger. How do you know? Because 7/8 is bigger than 5/8. Look at the second one. Rosa buys 3/4 of a pound of cheddar cheese. Lucy buys 3/8 pound of goat cheese. Who buys more cheese? Okay, so now the numerators are the same, so we have to ask ourselves, which pieces are bigger? Are 4ths bigger or are 8ths bigger? Let's check it out. Let's see, 4ths are that big and 8ths are that big. So 3/4 is going to be way bigger than 3/8. It's actually twice as big, since 4 is half of 8. So who did fourth? Who did fourths? Rosa. Who buys more? Rosa buys more. How do you know? 3/4 is bigger than 3/8. So my advice to you is to have fraction bars near you. You can just Google fraction bars. Have this near you while you're doing your assignment. I'm going to attach a PDF so you can print this out and do it on paper. If you do that, take a picture of it and attach it to your Google assignment, your Google Classroom assignment. You can also log in and do it through Think Central. Think Central has fewer questions, but even if you do it on Think Central, still get a separate sheet of paper so you can work it out, and still get some fraction bars so you can actually see which ones are bigger. Okay, good luck, scholars.